Welcome to the Fire Rescue Wellness Podcast Spotlight, where we revisit take-home messages and shine a light on previous FRW podcasts in 10 minutes or less. I'm Lex, AZ's right and left-hand woman, and I churn out these mini episodes for her. Let's go.
Heart rate variability reflects really the amount of variability between the duration, the time between heartbeats. And, in a healthy individual that is well rested, they're going to have greater variability in a resting state in the time between heartbeats. And that's because it falls, the sinus rhythm, our heart rate falls in line with our breathing patterns. And that's really the foundation of biofeedback and controlling our breathing to bring us into a less stressful state. It's that mind-body connection, really. But an objective way to measure our level of, physiological stress through the autonomic nervous system is heart rate variability, the time between beats and stuff. But when we're in a more stressful state, when we're not getting enough sleep, we're overtraining, there's going to be less variability. That means our heart rate tends to be a little bit higher, but also, and more specifically, it's the time between beats is very similar. And we're talking milliseconds, but that's how it's measured and stuff. So, and really the autonomic nervous system, it has two branches. It's a balance between the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight or flight response that we get in a stressful state, right? And the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the so-called rest and digest. It's the relaxed state. And really it's healthy to have a balance between those two. During exercise, we're going to be more sympathetic dominant, right? We need our heart rate and our blood pressure to increase, and catecholamines, epinephrine, norepinephrine, or adrenaline, noradrenaline are flying around. That increases our blood pressure. That gets blood pumping and going to the working muscles, and it provides them with oxygen for energy. That's important. But when we stop exercising and we don't need all that blood flow, we need to come down into a more restful state. And that's where the parasympathetic nervous system needs to be upregulated. But in our world of constant physical and social and psychological stressors, even at a rested state, we can be more, fight or flight, more sympathetic dominant. And so the research that you're referring to that one of my former doctoral students, Dr. Ashley Lesniak, published, she basically demonstrated that heart rate variability was correlated. They measured this in the morning upon waking a group of firefighters, but it was correlated to occupational performance that day and stuff. So essentially, the firefighters that had greater heart rate variability, a good thing, demonstrating rested state, they tended to perform more quickly on a timed simulated fireground test. So I will put this out there that's not a causal relationship. When we do research and we look at relationships, it just means that as one thing goes in one direction, the other thing tends to go in the other direction. It doesn't say that there's cause and effect, that, well, your heart rate variability was greater, a favorable thing. Therefore, you performed more optimally on these occupational tasks. It's a relationship, so we need to take it with a grain of salt. And more research is really necessary to conduct other studies with different methodological designs that can try to demonstrate cause and effect. But that's super hard to do to control everything. So hopefully that's a snapshot of what heart rate variability is and kind of the outcome that you're referencing from that manuscript.